Alright everyone, it is me again, Johnson Chan, and today will actually mark the very first video of a trial balloon. I'm actually going to do two videos today in regards to stocks because for those of you who are actually brand new, I actually cover cryptocurrencies, but I do actually like working stocks, but I don't make content on YouTube for stocks, but I do know a lot. Whether I'm actually able to make profit or not, I mean, that's going to be a little different. Depends on what the S&P 500 does. And again, as always, the Zoom just doesn't work. Oh well. All right. Anyway, so I don't actually know what the keywords I'm trying to work on. I know it's obviously Twitter, but it's not just Twitter. It's specifically Twitter stock. And I actually looked at the search suggestions. So I don't know what I'm going to put in the YouTube title. To help rank for other keywords. But unless you've been living under a rock, you obviously know that Elon Musk is going to try to buy out Twitter. And of course, us right-wing people really need this, right? Because we're getting screwed. I actually posted a tweet on my Twitter earlier of a perfect example of deboosting. I have two of the exact same tweet, but one has 12. This is actually grown to like 1600% more engagements than the other one. It's like this. It's been like this for me since like Trump took over like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's just been like I have a lot of pent up resentment towards these pieces of garbage on Twitter. So so yeah. So I know a lot about this stupid algorithm anyway. All right. So let's see. I guess we should also open up the Twitter stock page because I'm still trying to figure out how this format's going to go, but. All right, so it's down like Twitter's stock is down like 2.32%, which is actually nothing to me because in crypto things go down 50, 60, 80%. It's like another day at the office. But it's obviously down because, traders think that Elon Musk is going to completely back out of Twitter and then Twitter, goes kablooey. Now, I've already been tweeting a lot already, but basically, I mean, we have to really go dig in. But basically, Twitter is trying to force if I can find it. All right. Basically, Twitter is trying to enforce the agreement, right? If it's around here somewhere. I must have skipped over it, right? But there's a problem with doing that. Twitter, it's my opinion. I already tweeted this earlier, but it's already buried. But Twitter might actually be engaged. I think Twitter is engaged in securities fraud, all right, because they've been lying about their user base, specifically the botting problem. If you do a sparktoro.com audit on myself or anyone who's big, I actually have like 28.9% fake followers, right? And this is public, so you can just do it on your own dime, on own time. And over 40% of my followers here, right, they're actually inactive for 4 months or longer. So again, like I just can't grow because not only do I have my shadow banned, but I actually have a lot of fake followers. Right? If you check anyone else, like Elon Musk or whatever, it can go as high as 50%. So Twitter has actually been lying, right? Because they said it's only 5%, and that's just not true at all. So pretty much what's basically happening is Elon Musk can back out. Actually, yeah, where is my thing that I retweeted? Because I specifically retweeted. I might have to go into my notifications here. Where is it? Okay. No, that's not it. Let me see. There was one where. Okay, it's this one. All right. So Elon Musk knows Twitter committed felony SEC securities fraud. Now Elon is going in for the kill. So this is in quote response to this, right? Meet Kevin, which funny enough, I actually saw on the YouTube suggestions. I think it's the same guy. Some say Elon Musk has to buy Twitter, as is with bots, because he waived his right to due diligence. This is obviously wrong and stupid. SEC 10b-5, Twitter can be liable for emissions or misleading material facts. The botting is of material misleading. It's actually malicious. Waiving due diligence does not mean you have to accept fraudulent disclosure. Right. It's fraud. Okay? I don't know how else to put it. And of course, Elon Musk obviously knows this. Like, he literally just said, correct. Yeah. Anybody with half a brain can understand this. And surprisingly, Twitter didn't screw me, I guess, on this one, right? On this tweet. Yeah. All right. Because again, I go in for the jugular, right? Because that's how we are in New York, right? Yeah, Twitter committed securities fraud, and which is a felony, and you can actually go to prison forever. But I mean, everyone's left wing, so they kind of don't want to enforce the law against each other, which makes sense. So we'll see how this plays out. I even thought about maybe buying a couple of put options on Twitter, but I already know how that's going to turn out. So that's why I just do spiders, and then I just like try to avoid individual like stock buying and selling of options. If I really wanted to buy a stock, I would just simply buy the stock, no options. And that way I take the time pressure off. Sucks to get rich slowly, but it's better to, make money than, gamble and lose a lot. Excuse me. I just made myself cheeseburgers, so they were very tasty. Okay, so I still think Elon is committed to buying Twitter. All right, he's just trying to get a better deal because, believe it or not, Elon's the one making all that has all the cards. Twitter does not have too many legs to stand on because they know they're committing fraud and they're lying. And on top of that, the people who run Twitter are lazy and stupid. You watched that Project Veritas video that came out? The Indian guy that they basically doxed, I guess. He actually said that nobody even comes into Twitter. They come in like you could take as much time off as you want. You still get paid, and then like you just come in like 3-4 days a year. Like what the? How can you run a company like that? All right. So you expect me to believe that those kinds of people are gonna like do their due diligence and go, oh yeah, we could do whatever we want. Who cares? All right. No, you can't just do whatever you want because you're an effing publicly traded company that's heavily regulated by an actual governmental agency. Now, the SEC has to eventually do something, but even though they don't want to because, credibility is kind of important. Otherwise, we could just say, hey, the SEC is going to allow blatant fraud and not do anything, then why do we need them, right? So, I mean, at some point, you do have to follow the law. So, anyway, I don't want to keep droning on and on because, again, these details don't matter because as we already know, right, the Federal Reserve is constantly manipulating the money supply and they're winding down their balance sheet, supposedly manipulating the markets. And again, we'll have to see what Greg Manriano says at the end of the day. You'll be hearing that name a lot for those of you who are new. So, with that being said, I'm still kind of annoyed that the markets are, they were doing really well today, and then now they're dipping for some reason. I know Turkey right now is having some kind of problem with their, Turkish lira currency. And then Erdogan, that's how you pronounce his name, said that he's not going to raise interest rates. So the Turkish lira is just taking a nosedive right now, and I assume that's why the dollar index is also up. But there's obviously something else going on. So we'll just have to see what happens at the end of the day. So anyway, that's Elon Musk. That's Twitter. What do I think will happen? That was a good point. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the problem is Twitter is like run by stupid, spoiled a-holes. So I'm thinking they should at some point realize that they're trapped. So they either have to give Elon Musk the data and therefore admit to securities fraud and then face potential like criminal prosecution in addition to shareholder lawsuits, or they could just say, okay, we know what you're doing, Elon. We'll lower the bid. Just don't F us in the ass. All right, just let us leave. All right, I think that would be the ideal situation, so everyone saves face, and then that also causes the least amount of drama, right? But I mean, again, Twitter is just run by a bunch of spoiled, far left-wing a-holes, and they think they're like the best in the world. So, I mean, I don't know, but I am pretty confident though that Elon will buy Twitter. It's just a matter of when and for how much, and hopefully sooner rather than later, because I just can't stand being on stupid Twitter. I have nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go. Which adds to my resentment, but, that's how it goes. Alright, like, subscribe, share this video around. I like to slouch in my chair for some reason. Yeah, because I get too comfortable. Thank you again to all the old and new people watching this video. And again, this is actually a trial balloon up video. I'm going to do a second one, or I'm going to do Amazon. And I'm going to try to figure out if this actually works, if it helps grow the channel, branching out, right, etc., etc. Of course, that means more work for me, but, well, I mean, well, what else am I going to do, right? I mean, even at some point, I get tired of playing video games all day. I'd rather just do some kind of work, because I need 50 grand before the offshore company setups, right? So I can finally get out of New York, right? I'm just kind of annoyed that I actually let all my money bleed out after all these years. So that's how it goes. I'll see you next video. It'll be on the Amazon 21 split thing. I think that'll probably be a lot shorter. Yep.